YouTube, I'm Danielle, and this is Kitchen Optimist. I'm a novice cook, but expert eater, taking on recipes that scare the sugar out of me, 1 teaspoon at a time. It's in my head that I absolutely must make challah. If you've never had it, it is a slightly sweet, pillowy, braided bread that Jews eat to mark the beginning of Shabbat. It is a many hours commitment. My fiance does not eat carbs at night and does not work from home, so I will be the one consuming this fiendishly until the bag is gone or gets moldy. It is a race against time and microbial biology. I'm using the recipe from Once Upon a Chef. Is it the one with the most positive reviews? No. There's a New York Times one that has well over 1,000, but I'm trying the best I can to choose recipes that aren't behind a paywall. First, I am combining my wet ingredients. That includes 2 room temperature eggs and 1 room temperature yolk. I did take these out earlier so they could live their best room temperature life. Now for 6 tablespoons of honey and 6 tablespoons of vegetable oil. All right, that is 6, I think, because for some reason, whenever I'm cooking, it's like I forget how to count. Final ingredient for the wet is lukewarm water. And then I whisk. It's possible I needed a bigger bowl. This also seems extremely watery. Because I don't trust myself at all, I did just double check, and it is 3/4 of a cup lukewarm water, and that is what I did. I'm gonna call that whisked. Now this gets set aside, and I'll combine my dries. This recipe calls for a dough hook and yeast, 2 things I have never personally operated, and 2 of the things that have gotten in the way of me ever making this before. Use speed 2 only. Rule followers unite, that's what we will be doing. Into the mixture goes 1 tablespoon of instant yeast, fast acting. This is weird. It kind of looks like tiny rabbit pellets. And last of the dries is 4 1/4 cups all-purpose flour. Counting out loud so I can go back and watch it if I mess up. That's 1 1/4, 2 1/4. And sure enough, I can no longer remember how many cups that is. I'm gonna pause this and watch it back. Only 1 more. Maybe I was supposed to pack the flour. 4 1/4 cups are seeming like more than I put in the cup. Well, guess we'll find out. Now I mix this on low for 30 seconds to combine. She didn't say anything about spatulaing it, but I'm unconvinced that that hook gets all the way to the bottom. Also, I like to make things more difficult than they are. Now I'm adding the wets to the dries, kneading on low for 5 to 7 minutes until I have a sticky dough ball that clings to the bottom of the bowl. Well, it definitely looks sticky. She warned of that. She says it'll look like it's too wet, but it is part of the process. I don't know where the line of lightly flouring and generously flouring lies, because I'm supposed to lightly flour my workspace, but generously flour my hands. And then scrape the dough out. I don't have a scraper, so we are going to rubber spatula it off of the hook and out of the bowl. We are going to finger and nail it out of the bottom. I, for one, appreciate the sticky dough warning, because I'd be real convinced right now this was terribly wrong. Now I'm supposed to knead it into a ball. Maybe I didn't sufficiently flour my hands, but I don't think there's any going back now. This is what I imagine fighting through quicksand to feel like. Everything I've seen of kneading involves the heels of hands. Didn't think I'd be working up a sweat doing this. I wonder if bread makers are like really yoked. I mean, I do want my arms to look good for the wedding, so this just might give me a thick neck and shoulders. The next step is putting this in a greased bowl and flipping it so both sides are greased, and then covering it and letting it rise. And hindsight being 2020 and fingers being covered in dough, I realized that I should have oiled that bowl in advance, but I did not. So here we are. Okay, the directions are kneaded into a soft, smooth ball. I also wish that it indicated how long it takes to get into a smooth ball, so I know if I'm just trusting the process or horribly off track. I think we're pretty far from a ball stage, but we got somewhere near a log. I just don't know. I think I was overly stingy with the flour. I don't know how much more of a ball this will turn into, nor do I know how I will get it off my hands. My kingdom for a scraper. I don't know, is this a round ball? I'm sure you can over knead it. I don't know what that cutoff point is. I'm gonna take a short kneading break. I need a break. They crack me up and leave my sadly not round ball dough here while I lightly oil this bowl. I don't know why I just did that. I felt compelled to go back in. I don't know that this is gonna get any more round ball adjacent. I'm gonna go for it. I am going to put her together and let her rise. She also doesn't talk about the level of potential dough loss that I'm experiencing. Now, sadly, I also have to flip this ball. Pray for me. That could have gone better. It could have gone worse also. So it said knead briefly. I am sure that I surpassed that. I am also sure that I did not get a round ball. Possibly the vagueness of briefly, generously, and lightly have created a whole situation. But one thing that is very clear is cover it in cling wrap and let it sit for 2 to 3 hours in a warm, undrafty place until it doubles or triples in size. So here we go. See you soon-ish. Okay, it has been about 2 hours, 45 minutes-ish. I think this is doubled. I didn't measure it before, but it feels like it has increased sizably. The oven just finished preheating to 350, and now I'm supposed to turn this dough over onto a lightly floured surface. She warned it would deflate, so I'm not going to be deflated by that. Next step is dusting it with some flour before dividing it into 4 equal parts. Is it a Minnesota dusting when they're like, we got a dusting of snow, but other people think it's a blizzard? I don't know. I'm going to use the back side of the knife. She says they should be approximately 9 ounces. I can't believe I'm gonna say this, but I'm not even gonna weigh them because what am I gonna do about it now? They need to be pulled into 4 approximately 20-inch long strands. And if they shrink back up, we've all been there, you just re-pull them. This one feels a bit thinner. We're not gonna be size queens about it. We'll work with what we've got. Now, pinch the top, then we fan them out. Please stay. Take the outer strand and over, under, over. They're definitely shrinking up, huh? Next one, farthest from the right, over, under, over. I'm gonna readjust. The end is looking real homemade. She says to tuck the ends under to give it a finished feel. Might be the only finished feeling thing about this. It's not really sticking together. Really loose at the top and tighter at the bottom. This is an unorthodox move. We have unpinched. Do not recommend, but also do not have a choice. So here we have her. This challah in waiting. Cause I ain't no challah back. Raise your hand if you carefully transferred your challah to a parchment-lined baking sheet, gave it a good egg washing, stuck it in the oven, set your timer, and then realize, oh, I didn't hit record. That's the thing with this, it's not like I can do it again because it is in the oven and it is egg washed. I assure you, I left no crevice left uncovered. She will be glossy AF, just as she was meant to be. Moment of truth. Oh, it's still really warm. It looks like bread. I'm glad I kept eating. The part that was more crust is not as sweet as the insides. It feels a little dense. Maybe I over kneaded it. Maybe I under kneaded it. I don't know what level of kneading causes density. I think I also may have been a little too generous with the egg wash because there are some spots where it looks really eggy. Not the best challah I've ever had, best challah I've ever made. Yeah, biggest qualm is I want it to be a little sweeter and a little less dense. Maybe some of my more in the middle pieces will get that for me. Maybe they won't. I wonder if part of the reason it was extra sticky is because when I was measuring the cups of flour, I wasn't properly packing them. So maybe I was like slightly too light on the flour. I don't think I properly floured my surface or my hands. Next time I'll make sure that I have a scraper. So would I make this again? Yes. I would make challah again. I'm not against this recipe. Maybe I'll use the New York Times one next time. It takes a long time from start to finish. Total time for me was 5 hours, 5 minutes, and 46 seconds. That's a big commitment for a hunk of bread. But 2 hours and 45 minutes of that, had I had any place to be, I could have left the house. I have one friend in Nashville, so I didn't have anywhere to go. But it did allow me to fold laundry, prep dinner. Yeah, don't love the ends. This will get me by. I feel good about this. I could not imagine making this every Shabbat. I don't know how people who keep Shabbat and have outside of the home jobs, or kids running around for that matter, prep something like this every week on top of an entire other meal. Because again, 5 hours, 5 minutes, and 46 seconds just on one item. But I feel really good about having properly deployed yeast. It could be better. I want it to be better. I bet in the middle it will be better. So for total cost, ingredient-wise, this is super cheap to make. It was $17.94 before tax. Total equipment used significantly more expensive. The total for this was $617.90 before tax. The bulk of that being the KitchenAid. That alone is around $450. There are other brands for sure. This recipe asks for a dough hook. So a stand mixer really is a better bet than a handheld like I've used before. So total cost, equipment plus ingredients, $636.14. You probably have a number of the pantry staples already in your kitchen. I would not say that this recipe alone is worth buying a Cuisinart, but if you have one, great. At the end of the day, which this is because it took me all day to make, it's still about trying a recipe that I've been afraid to try until now and figuring out 1, if it was worth the fear, 2, if it was worth the effort, and 3, if I'm better in the kitchen than I thought I was or not. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Danielle. Please like and subscribe. This is Kitchen Optimist, fighting the good fight for mediocre cooks everywhere. Stay sweet.